Good afternoon and welcome to the Executive Board. My name is Senator Ray Aguilar. I represent the 35th Legislative District and serve as Chair of the Executive Board. We'll start off having members of the committee and committee staff do self-introductions, starting on my far right with Senator Clements.
Rob Clements, District 2.
Bo Ballard, District 21.
Elliot Bozar, District 29.
John Lowe, District 37.
Trevor Fitzgerald, Committee Legal Counsel.
John Arch, District 14.
Tony Vargas, District 7.
Mike Jacobson, District 42.
Also assisting the committee is our committee clerk, Sally Schultz. This afternoon, we'll be hearing bills and we'll be hearing 5 bills, and we'll be taking them in order listed outside the room. On the tables near the entrance, you will find a green testifier sheet. If you are planning to testify today, please fill one out and hand it to Sally when you come up. This will help us keep an accurate record of the hearing. Please note that if you wish to have your position listed on the committee statement for a particular bill, you must testify in that position during the bill's hearing. If you do not wish to testify but would like to record your position on the bill, please fill out the yellow sheet near the entrance. Also, I would note that the legislature's policy that all letters for the record must be received via the online comments portal by the committee by 8 a.m. the day of the hearing. Any handouts submitted by testifiers will also be included as part of the record as exhibits. We would ask that if you do have any handouts, that you please bring 12 copies and give them to Sally. If you need additional copies, we can help you make more. Testimony for each bill will begin with the introducer's opening statement. After the opening statement, you will hear from the supporters of the bill, then from those in opposition, followed by those speaking in a neutral capacity. The introducer of the bill will then be given the opportunity to make a closing statements if they wish to do so. We ask that you begin your testimony by giving us your first and last name. Please also spell them for the record. We will also be using a 3-minute light system today. When you begin your testimony, the light on the table will turn green. The yellow light is your 1-minute warning. And when the red light comes on, we ask you to wrap up your final thoughts. I will remind everyone, including senators, please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate. With that, we will begin today's hearing with a joint hearing for 4 identical bills, LB 5, LB 18, LB 21, and LB 74. Welcome, Senator Blood.
Ready? So good afternoon, Chair Aguilar and members of the Executive Committee. My name is Senator Carol Blood. That is spelled C-A-R-O-L, B as in boy, L-O-O-D as in dog. And I represent Nebraska Legislative District 3, which comprises Western Bellevue and Eastern Papillion, Nebraska. Today, I am introducing LB 5, which allows constitutional amendments submitted by the legislature this special session to make it on the ballot for the general election this year. Alongside LB 5, I've been given permission by Senators John Cavanaugh, Kauth, and McDonnell to introduce on their behalf the other 3 identical bills. Hey, you have to give bill drafting credit. They clearly didn't snitch, right? We were not aware that anybody else was doing it. So, to introduce on their behalf the other 3 bills, LB 18, 21, and 74. I've introduced LB 5 in conjunction with LR 1CA to end unfunded mandates on political subdivisions because I do not think taxpaying Nebraskans should have to wait to vote on ending unfunded mandates. The governor mentioned in his Cass County Town Hall recently the role unfunded mandates play in our state's high property taxes, so I believe we should accelerate this issue to the ballot. If we can get unfunded mandates passed on the floor and submitted to the Secretary of State by September 1st, I was told this would be sufficient time for any constitutional amendment to make the general ballot this year. I thank the committee for your time.
Questions for Senator Blood? Speaker Arch.
So help me understand the 60-day. What if the session ends less than 60 days before the election? How does that work?
I think you're going to find better clarification with an amendment that's going to be coming behind me on that question.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none?
Thank you.
Will you be staying around to close?
Yes.
Now we'll have proponents in the bill. Are there any opponents to the bill? Any neutral testimony?
Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Wayne Bena, W-A-Y-N-E-B-E-N-A. I'm here on behalf of Secretary of State Bob Erdman as Deputy Secretary of State for Elections here in a neutral capacity on all four of these bills. First of all, I'd like to thank Senator Blood, Cavanaugh, Kauth, and McDonnell for allowing me the fourth committee I can talk to elections to in my tenure. Once I get ag, I think I've made it here if I can talk elections to them. We at the Secretary of State's office and the election division are able to accommodate this bill as written. However, we would provide the suggestion that a date certain, such as September 1st, is a better option. One, anything that gives me just a few extra days helps in this process. And second, it harmonizes with all other political subdivisions, such as your schools, school boards, cities, counties that put something on their county ballot. September 1st is that deadline to put something onto the ballot. That would be our suggestion. However, if you decide to go this method for special elections and or I will save you guys some time and not testify on the next bill and just say that it's the same, that September 1st is the better. Which way do you decide to go, whether it's for any or all or just for special sessions? Again, just to give us a few extra days and a date certain in statute, as well as it harmonizes with all other political subdivisions. With that, happy to take any questions. One other caveat, if a CA is not passed this session, if we could hold on passing any bill like this and talk about it in a longer next session, just in case we see something in the interim that may affect our ability to be able to get it done. But we think right now we can get it done as is. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Bennett? Seeing none, thank you. Is there any other neutral testimony? Senator Blood? I'll also read into the record letters to be read. ADA accommodation for LB5, none. Written position comments, proponents 2, opponents 1, neutral 1.
I just want to thank you for your time today. I think that the special session has called for unusual circumstances to get things moved forward. I think that it would behoove us to work together to find ways to make these solutions happen and give the governor the property tax relief that is sustainable and will help Nebraskans, regardless of who they are, where they live, what they look like, or where they come from. And
Senator Reapy?
Thank you, Senator Blood, for being here. I guess my question is the why now question. You know, the legislature's been here, and the state's been here, and all of a sudden, these issues must have come up before.
no, not all of a sudden. This is, so the issue is coming up now, and it has come up before because we are in a property tax crisis, according to our executive branch, and we know that that's true. And so for those of us that are bringing forward bills that we feel will be sustainable and help property tax go down in the future, we want to find ways while we're here to move those bills forward. For my bill personally, this will be the third time my bill has come out of government, 8-0. My bill hopefully will get this time a full fair debate. But we'll see, because it's a special session. I'm not sure how everything's going to work. But I think that there are several bills. I believe Senator Bostar has one. I have one. Senator Slama, maybe Senator Wayne, Senator Kauth, Senator Cavanaugh. we have bills that are very important that we want to see get through to help the governor meet his goal of lowering people's property taxes. I think it would be very different if it wasn't a special session and there was an urgency attached to it. But we're all on board to lower property taxes, and we were told that all ideas would be considered, right? We heard that over and over again. So now it's an opportunity for us to show that all ideas will truly be considered and allow the platform that they need to move forward. And the nice thing about constitutional amendments, Senator Reapy, is that the people use their voices, right? That's the best thing about them.
Any other questions or comments for Senator Blood? See none. Thank you for bringing us the bills.
Thank you for having me. I hope you have a very quick meeting. It's a long day.
Thank you.
And that closes the hearing on LB 5, LB 18, LB 21, and LB 74.
We need to add those. We need to read these because they're different. They're common as well.
On LB 18, the accommodation testimony, none. Written position comments, proponents 1, opponents 3, neutral 1. On LB 21, accommodation testimony, ADA accommodation testimony, none. Written position comments, proponents 1, opponents 2, neutral 1. LB 74, ADA accommodation testimony, none. Written position comments, proponents 1, opponents 1, neutral 1. I'll read open on LB 74.
15?
I'm sorry. Oh, you read open on LB 15.
Oh, we're skipping 15.
Thank you. I got it right here. Just didn't read it.
Change this to 15.
Sally, it should be 15.
Just flip it down then.
Well, my name is Joel Hunt, Joelhunt. Senator Erdman has a conflicting hearing on the Epic option consumption tax downstairs in room 1524. So I'm coming in instead to introduce this bill. This is LB 15. The impetus behind this bill is that we have two constitutional amendments for Epic, LR4CA and LR5CA, and we would like to get those on the ballot in November. So that's what necessitates this bill. Nebraska State Statute 49-202-01 places a 4-month waiting period between the time that the executive board of the legislature submits the ballot language and the ballot or the ballot measure to the Secretary of State and the date of the election. The 4-month waiting period means that no constitutional amendment passed during the 2024 special session could be placed on the ballot for the November 5th, 2024 election. LB 15 changes the 4-month waiting period to a 60-day waiting period. Because there are 31 days in the month of October, the cutoff date for the November 5th, 2024 general election would be September 6th. Okay, I'm going to come back to that in a minute because that's important. If the 2024 special election ends on August 15th as planned, and the executive board submits a ballot measure to the Secretary of State on that date, then the waiting period for that ballot measure would expire on October 15, giving the Secretary of State more than the 60-day required notice. LB 15 is necessary in order for LR4CA and LR5CA to get on the November ballot. These are two resolutions for constitutional amendments that are necessary for the Epic option consumption tax to become a reality in Nebraska. Big difference between this bill and some of the others is that this makes a permanent change in the law, whereas some of the other bills are specific just to this year or specific to a particular piece of legislation. This would be a permanent change. And one of the reasons I want you to think about as to why we need to make this permanent change relates to petition circulators. With the 4-month waiting period, petition circulators are not able to take advantage of the county fairs or even the state fair. And I want you to think, especially in terms of a volunteer effort, like we did with Epic this year. We were unable to take advantage of the county fairs or the state fair this year because of the 4-month waiting period. If we reduce that to 60 days, we would be able to take advantage of the county fairs and the state fair. And so this is why I believe that we need to make the change. It needs to be permanent. And that's what I got for you.
Questions?
Thank you, Chairman. I just got a question on timing. If we were to pass LB 15, but the governor doesn't sign it for 30 days or 40 days?
We have an emergency clause in there.
Okay. I was just wondering about timing and if all that works out.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you.
Okay.
We'll be staying around to close.
Okay, that's close.
Is there any proponents of this LB 15? Welcome.
Good afternoon, Senators. My name is Mark Bonkowitz. I live in District 12, 111 29 Z Street, Omaha, 68137. I'm here to support LB 15 based upon the fact that you have 24 constitutional amendment resolutions that have been introduced in this special tax session.
Spell your name.
Pardon me?
Spell your name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mark, M-A-R-K, Bonkowitz, B as in blue, O-N-K, I-E-W-I-C-Z. Sorry about that. Obviously, we have a big challenge with taxation in the state of Nebraska, or you all wouldn't be in this room right now. So since there's been 24 legislative resolution CAs introduced, something's going to have to happen majorly in order to solve this problem. So then when you do your job, whichever one gets passed to go on to the ballot, then we, the people, finally get a chance to vote. Okay, currently with 120 days, it's not going to get on the ballot. That's why we have to reduce it down to 60 days at least for this special session. So I can just tell you that there are hundreds of thousands of Nebraskans out there that are hurting with all the taxes that they're paying, especially the property taxes. And they expect this body to really come through and make it possible for them to vote on a constitutional amendment to reduce their taxes or eliminate their property taxes in November. So please do your job. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mark? Seeing none?
Okay.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Any opponents? Neutral testimony. Mr. Bennett?
Good afternoon again. My name is Wayne Bennett, W-A-Y-N-E-B-E-N-A, Deputy Secretary of State for Elections, here on behalf of Secretary of State Robert Erdman. I promised you I wasn't going to testify on this bill, but I got the nod that I probably need to clarify something in the prior, in the opening statement. The bill that you have before you will just applies to constitutional amendments in a normal or special session. Initiative and referendum petitions are in a separate statute in Chapter 32, as well as the Constitution. So what you have before you will not affect any initiative or referendums, allowing them to go to county fairs later on in the year. The bill, LB 15, says that any constitutional amendment passed in a regular or special session needs to get to us in 60 days prior to the general election. I've requested September 1st if you choose this method, or if it's just for special sessions, September 1st, just for special sessions. Just wanted to clarify that for the record. This is just for your constitutional amendments. If you were to want to change the deadline, you would have to change the deadline for initiative petitions. You would have to change the Constitution as well as the statutes in Chapter 32. If you have any questions, happy to help.
Questions, Mr. Bennett? Seeing none, thank you. Would you like to close? We're closing, and for the record, ADA accommodation testimony, 1 from Eric Von Segren. Written position comments, proponent 6, opponents 2, neutral 1. That closes the hearing on LB 15 for the day.
Move to